going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. So I thought it would be fun to do commentaries on the solo flawless dungeons. I did commentaries on all the GMs this season, and I also have guides for the dungeons. But if you'd rather just see the gameplay with me talking about the build, then I thought this might be helpful. So as you can see, when I was falling down, you can fall and not run into any of those beams, but I hit it, which brings me to the first point I want to talk about. Dungeons have never been easier to solo flawless than they are now, thanks to the elimination of fall deaths. I had many fall deaths back in the day when I was trying to solo flawless some dungeons, and now we don't have those, so it makes it immensely easier. And then also this season is the easiest because of Solo Operative and Revitalizing Blast. So you really want to take advantage of Solar this season when you're solo flawlessing any dungeon, in my opinion. Like I said, I soloed them all on every character, and I solo flawless them all at least once. And yeah, so here's my build. I have transversive steps for getting around quickly. So this dungeon has obviously gotten a lot easier than it was in the past thanks to power creep. So a fusion grenade with Touch of Flame allows you to one-shot those knights. And then you could use like Izanagi's Burden here if you didn't want to use Sunshot and one-shot those knights. And there I go right past the sword, don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm assuming you know the mechanics. But yeah, you just have to go to those three symbols and take out the Wizard, Knight, and Shrieker. So this part's RNG, and you just have to find your way around. So that's where Transversive Steps is nice. And then I like a Fusion Grenade right there because I'm able to not drop my sword, which allows me to build up Sword Super, which is really nice to use on the outset of fighting the Knight and the Wizard. You want to not put your sword down as much as you can because you will lose that sword energy. And I don't know if you noticed, but I have Ashes to Assets on my helmet. And when I got the grenade kill while holding the sword, it actually gave me some super. So you can usually easily get two swords. Take out like the Knight and the Wizard, or the Shrieker and the Wizard. You can usually get two of the bosses with one sword. So because the other two symbols are on this side, I decided to go back and get a fresh sword so that I can sword skate like I'm doing now. So that obviously burns through ammo, as you can see. But like I said, if you're utilizing your super, you can usually make it even with sword skating. So that's why I got a second sword there. So here, we're not going to put it down. We're just going to use our Fusion Grenade. Icarus Dash is also really nice for getting around. And now watch when I use my super, I actually get Radiant because of Heart of the Flame, I think is that artifact. When you cast your solar super, it makes you Radiant. And the Radiant actually works on the sword. So now I'm doing more damage with the sword because I'm Radiant. I'm hitting 9826 where normally it's like 8,000 something. So just a little optimization trick, and funny that works. Or it looked like the damage was like 7,800 there at the end. But yeah, I was just waiting for the Thrall to group up, and then I hit the super on the Knight, and it took out all the Thrall at once. You can also use a grenade there, but again, you want to not put down the sword as much as you can. If you have to, that's fine. It's just going to prolong the encounter is all. So here, I kind of forgot where my symbol was, but no big deal. And again, you can see my super is full, which is really nice because the Wizard is the hardest to take out. And that is where you probably want to drop your sword and kill those two wizards. I don't, and you can see I get pretty low health, but I don't end up dying. But if you were going for a solo flawless, just play it safe. So we get our super off. Now we're doing more damage. It was like 90-some hundred before, and then it was 12,000. But I'm not going to get to take full advantage of Radiant because I'm trying to avoid the wizards. And you can do a Phoenix Dive and hang on to your sword, as you can see there. So I like to run Phoenix Dive with this, obviously. And then you can block with the sword. And as you can see, when I'm blocking, I lose sword swings as well. And so like I said, we had enough to take out two bosses because we were utilizing the sword super. and and the Radiant also helping. And you could also conserve it by just not sword swiping. So you can play this much, much safer if you want. But I wasn't necessarily doing a speed run, but I was trying to do it the quickest I can. Just because it's probably better for viewership on YouTube. Like, people don't want to sit and watch an hour-long run of a dungeon if they can watch an 18-minute run of a dungeon. So this part is the maze, and what I should have done is right here, switch to a healing grenade. But I don't remember to do that until I'm actually in the maze, so it's a little risky. But I would recommend switching to a healing grenade here, because it's nice against those big ogres, because sometimes they're in your path, and they actually still do a lot of damage. Not as much as they used to, because of DR and like resist mods on your chest piece and whatever else. But yeah, so here I remember to swap, but I should have swapped before and just taken them out with my shotgun. So that's what I'm doing right here. I wasn't sure how close those thrall were to me, so as soon as I was out of my menu, I was going to do a Phoenix dive because I thought I might be close to dying. So this is the route I like to take. I always start on the left. If you're a hunter, you could swap to invis here as well. Like, use what you're comfortable with, but that's more what my guide's for. For this video, I'm just going to be talking about the strats that I'm using with this loadout. So again, transversive steps are super nice for ripping around. On my way over, I took out that stuff that like blocks the entrance. I like to take that out before, because now he's beaming me and I'm able to just slide in. Where if that thing is there, I can't slide in, I have to take it out, and sometimes that can be the difference between life and death. So the Heritage with Reconstruction, Recombination is really good for quickly taking out those knights. I think if you have a full stack, you can one-shot them to the head, but 2 shots is really nice to take them down quickly. This one, that is why you want the healing nade, because he was in a really crappy spot there. Sometimes he's further back, but so now we got left and middle, and then we just dip over here, and then we do right. So that time, I wasted my recombination shot, so it's a 3-shot kill. But anyway, then you just dip out here. Again, Transversives and Icarus Dash are super nice for getting around. I highly recommend presets, so kind of think of the strats that you want to use, and then have your preset loadout for that. That's made running dungeons so much nicer because you can like preset this stuff and then you don't have to think about it. You do it all beforehand before your run. Again, like each encounter, just think of the strat that you're going to use. So I'm using Touch of Flame healing grenade, so I get Resto ×2. I've got Ember of Empyrean, and then I've got a Zali's Bane, which is really, really strong. And then I've got the Xenophage for taking out like the big knight, and it's solar, so it extends Resto and Radiant with Ember of Empyrean. See, like a quick kill. I only had like 1 second there, but Xenophage is great for just getting a quick kill off. I just sprint to reload with transversive steps, so that's where those are really nice. And then I still have the shotgun to take out these guys, which I don't always do. I use Xenophage quite a bit because A, I know I have ammo on the ground, and then B, because it's extending my Resto and Radiant. So there, I just lose it, but again, it's no big deal. We can just get it going again. So again, I'm wasting a lot of Xenophage ammo there. I could easily just be using my hand cannon, which I rightfully switched to right there. So yeah, those Cursed Thrall used to hurt like a bunch back in the day, and now they just die like nothing. Or sorry, they do like no damage, and you're healed right back up immediately because of Resto ×2. So Xenophage, I took out those knights. They usually come in on each side, but sometimes they'll kind of TP to either side, or like to the same side. So that Xenophage shot that I had on the round before took out 2 of those knights with 1 Xenophage shot. So Xenophage is like seriously goated in this. And look, it's like 2 shots as long as you have Radiant on that guy. I know I missed 2 shots, but that's just how it is. Again, this is like sloppy and reckless how I'm playing, and we still get it done. Because again, I'm just basically going for speed, not trying to prolong this at all. So every time you take out those knights, it spawns like a whole bunch of Thrall and the Cursed Thrall, I believe. And then you have to wait a little bit for the for the knights to spawn. So they go left, middle, right, left, middle, right. So don't go to the back like immediately. You have to wait a little bit, and that's just kind of an internal timer that you just have to kind of just get used to. So I kind of just know that timing. But you don't want to go too early and he's not there, because the longer you're off that plate, you will wipe. Like, you have to stand on this middle plate, because when you're off it, like, that wipe timer thing goes up and it starts to glow red eventually. Maybe we'll see it right here. Anyway, you can see it in some of the other runs. That was a quick one. But anyway, you just rinse, repeat that, do that 6 times, and you're done. So again, transversives is really nice because it actually saves you time getting to and from that middle plate. You don't need them by any means. And because I was so reckless with my Xenophage, I kind of screwed up a bit, because it's nice to have Xenophage for this part. Oh yeah, also when you're jumping down here, like, I know there's no fall damage anymore, but if you hit these spikes, I tested it, you still will die. So just take your time, do kind of what I'm doing, just make sure, be sure of your jumps. I actually switched to strafe glide here just because I'm a little more comfortable on it for, like, this is kind of intricate jumping. Like, I do lots of jumping puzzles with burst, but this, like, I don't know, I just find it a little safer. You just have more movement in air. So I don't even really look at the symbols. I just go to the right and I see I have red on my radar, and then I just follow the red on the radar. So there's going to be a shrieker here. So I swapped to a sniper rifle to try to conserve some ammo for my Xeno. And then, yeah, these guys are at a crappy angle. So I just go ahead and pop my Dawnblade super. I don't even use well in this run, but this boss would easily die to Well of Radiance and Legend of Acreus with Trench Barrel, like, as long as you have the Catalyst, if you want to run that. Lament is also a pretty safe 2-phase. I used a Vorpal Cartesian with Solar Surge and, what's it called? Dragon's Breath, and that worked really well. I killed him, and that was utilizing Well of Radiance. I killed him before he even put his knee down. So that's probably, for the majority of the player base, I would recommend that damage strategy. Because most people have Dragon's Breath, and you could get the Eremite, you could get the Royal Executioner, which has Envious Assassin and Reservoir Burst. So that actually deals more damage for, like, the first 14 shots, which is probably all you'll need when you're between swapping with that and, like, solar grenades or whatever you're using and Dragon's Breath. So that's a really good option. Or Vorpal Weapon Cartesian Coordinate, which Banshee was selling not too long ago. So a very accessible loadout, where the loadout I use is the Scatter Signal from this season, which is the Strand Fusion Rifle. And I have Slice on mine, not Overflow, and then Controlled Burst. And then I use the Trials Grenade Launcher. Mine doesn't have spike grenades, but it's, other than that, it's a god roll. It's got Envious and Bait and Switch. And because of the health pool of this boss, it's got really good DPS, but it's got bad sustain, like total damage. Where the Dragon's Breath combo will get you way more total damage. But this combo works perfectly with the strat that I use, which I use a Dawn Chorus build. So the Dawn Chorus super, thanks to Revitalizing Blast and Solar Surge and all that. Or not Solar Surge, Solo Operative, sorry. And then, yeah, just with how good Solar Supers are this season, the Dawn Chorus mixed with the Bait and Switch Scatter Signal DPS combo gets you a 1-phase, like, really, really quickly and easily. Like, it's just enough damage to take out the boss. And then you're not worrying about, I mean, you could still blow yourself up with a GL, but you're not worried about him, like, rushing you with a, because Dragon's Breath is essentially like a lasting impression rocket launcher, right? So anyways, you saw what I did there. Like I said, I literally just made sure of my jumps. Like, you just need to avoid those swinging chandeliers and stuff. There I tried to do my Icarus dash, but I don't have burst glide. So yeah, just be sure of your jumps. Try to have some xenophage ammo, because if you have 6 shots, you'll be able to easily take out the 3 wizards, especially if you have Ember of Torches, where melee hits will give you Radiant. You'll easily take out those wizards. So now we're coming up on the boss. Like I said, I had my preset all ready. So I actually have a fusion grenade on here. Oh no, this... I don't know why I have T-steps. I am so dumb. Maybe I swapped to Dawn Chorus. Yeah, I must swap. So this is another thing I wanted to talk about. See how I have 3 armor charge? This allows me to go into a damage phase with like 54 seconds of surge, because I have 2 time dilations, so that's 18 seconds per armor charge. So this essentially stores armor charge. You have to have something that uses armor charge. So I use Healthy Finisher, because even if I use a finisher, that's only going to use 1 armor charge. And then when I go to DPS, right before I slam the last ball, so here I'm just getting my health back. I could have Phoenix dived, but I just forgot that I can do that. So I waste a little bit of ammo here. But what you want to do is get the super off on the wizard. So I always start with the Shrieker. That way I can build up some super energy. And then you go to the wizard and take the wizard out. So again, do that super blast. And I leave the charges until the end. And then I go to the knight and I do the same thing. Yeah, so like I was saying, I have 3 armor charge. So this allows me to go into the damage phase, because you just swap to your DPS loadout. And again, mine is going to be Dawn Chorus. So I swap to Dawn Chorus. I get off my whole bait and switch combo. But I also have Torch on from the artifact. So what I do is I do a Phoenix dive. I apply Slice, which will give me 5% more weapon damage to my weapons when I'm Radiant. And then, obviously I get a shot with my Sunshot. I throw out an Ember of Torches melee, which makes me Radiant. And it debuffs the boss for 15% weaken, thanks to Revitalizing Blast. There, I almost die. I'm being a little reckless. Like, what you'd want to do, so you always dunk 2 balls, and then you take out like all the remaining adds in the middle area, and then you leave that knight up until the very end, because they will respawn if you don't dunk the ball in time. So here I'm just doing some ad management. Sunshot is amazing for that. So take out all the ads here. You don't want a single ad up while you're trying to do DPS, especially with a GL, because they might like jump in front of you. So there, I kill that knight. And now what we're gonna do is swap to our DPS loadout, which is Dawn Chorus. Now you see my armor charge ticking down. We bait the boss to that, so we get a safe dunk. And then, like I said, we do our DPS rotation. So I hit him with Sunshot. I proc that, Revitalizing Blast, and I even miss a couple shots here with bait and switch, triple strand surge. I use the fusion grenade to apply more Revitalizing Blast and do more damage, but I missed 2 grenades there while I had Radiant and Surge, so he would have died even quicker if I didn't miss. Then you want to pop your super. You want to wait on the super because of those Cursed Thrall. So here I was able to take out the Cursed Thrall with my super. Now I'm reprocking Radiant, and I just applied Slice, so he's dealing less damage. And then we use our last 2 grenades. So like I said, that's a really good strategy, because it's like just enough damage that you need. And I even missed 2 grenade launcher shots. But anyways, that is the Pit of Heresy. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, like and sub, all that stuff, and take care.